नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Okay, so we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, verse 23-24. So we were reading this on Friday, so we're going to continue. The 9 different processes enunciated by Prahlada Maharaj, who learned them from Narada Muni, may not all be required for execution of devotional service. If a devotee performs only one of these 9 without deviation, he can attain the mercy of the Supreme Person of Godhead. Sometimes it is found that when one performs one of the processes, other processes are mixed with it. That is not improper for a devotee, meaning it's okay. When a devotee executes any one of the 9 processes, Navalakshana, this is sufficient. The other 8 processes are included. Now let us discuss these 9 different processes. Tavanam, hearing of the holy name of the Lord, is the beginning of devotional service. Although any one of the 9 processes is sufficient in chronological order, the hearing of the holy name of the Lord is the beginning. Indeed, it is essential, as enunciated by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Cheto Darpanam Arjanam. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is cleansed of the material conception of life, which is due to the dirty modes of material nature. So by chanting the holy name, what should happen? One should become cleansed of the material conception of life. And this material conception of life is due to these modes of material nature. So one has to become cleansed simply by chanting. When the dirt is cleansed from the core of one's heart, one can realize the form of the Supreme Person of Godhead, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. Dirt has to be cleansed. Then we make progress. And then we come to stage of Bhava, Prema, where one can realize the form. Realize means experience. The Sachinananda Vigraha, form of the Lord. Right? So, for this, the most important process is chanting the holy names of Krishna. So, what should we be wary about? We should be wary about our material conception of life not decreasing day by day. Day by day, as we are chanting the holy name of Krishna, our material conception of life should go on decreasing. What is this material conception of life? Can you all give some examples? What is this material conception of life? How do we understand what is our conception of life?
Pranam Prabhuji. Prabhuji, like me and mine, more we are implicated in
Yeah,
this.
so some examples, like I mean, see some of these things. No, it's like we are aware, but we don't
Yes.
just realize that we are in the material conception of life when we are dealing with things. Day in, day out, the way we are dealing with things is in the material conception of life. So I want all of you to give some examples so that it will get reinforced in our consciousness.
Attachment to the family members.
Sorry, I'm not able to hear you, Ruchira Mataji.
Attachment to the family members.
In what way?
Mm, like more concerned than necessary. Like we are supposed to be like beautiful, not over attached.
Yeah, but I want examples.
Hare
Okay,
Krishna
worrying.
Prabhu.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, Mataji, please
No, Mataji,
continue.
I'm very sorry. I mean, like,
No. I
and
am
yeah,
Yeah.
done.
and I'm very sorry.
Like worrying unnecessarily for their material education. What will my
Okay,
yeah.
worrying unnecessarily for their education. Okay, is one example. Okay, yeah,
Yes, Mataji, please go.
yeah, yeah. Sumantra Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
We have the example of Bilva Mangal Thakur. Like when you
Mhm.
get attached to something and and you get overly absorbed in it. So this is material,
No,
the
I'm just trying to understand
gratification.
from our
Yeah,
life
probably, and
situation.
with that, when you're worried about everything in life, when it comes to children, husband, work, finances, everything, even like when yesterday, like
Worried.
even like when you're chanting, your mind, if you're at home, the mind is what is the health doing? What is my husband doing? So this material attachment, Prabhuji.
Okay, material attachment to things, small, big. Okay, okay, Prabhu.
Yeah, Proji, disturbances of mind and getting affected by what others are saying, fault finding
What
tendency.
others? What others are saying? Okay, fault finding tendency. Okay, okay. What else? So many examples, right? So devotees are concerned about what they wear, how they look, uh, about gadgets, about what they own, what they drive. Hmm? Hmm. What else? Devotees are worried about their body. Hmm? Hmm. Yeah, about their future. Hmm. About money. What else? Concerned, worried, anxious, about
Yeah.
owning more, possessing more. What else can we think about? So we can go on and on this list. The reason I brought this up was that it's one thing to just hear about these things, right? But it's another thing to actually practice it. Because now my absorption is more and more into the temple at Udimau, and some Mataji called me, and they're Marwadis and they're business people. So we've done one small program which is just to involve all people of the lower economic strata, so that they can also become part of building the temple and get the mercy of the Lord. So we said, I call somebody who can give like who can't give more than like 250 rupees per Ekadashi, right? Now this Mataji, this family, they can possibly give 25,000 rupees every Ekadashi, maybe or more. Um, she called me. So somebody told me saying that she wanted to speak to me. I thought, okay, and that Machadi who told me that this lady wanted to speak to me, she said, maybe she wants to talk about the temple. So I said, okay, whatever, right? So and I called that. Mataji and asked her, saying, just speaking, she said like, see, okay, please, you also get involved in helping us on this, etc. She said, yeah, I'm also part of this 250 rupee group. So then I was like, I said, okay, okay, it's fine. Maybe everybody has their own situation, so why should we judge? So I just kept quiet. Then, as she was like, then she started the conversation. What the reason why she wanted to speak to me? So we had initially published that per square foot is 5,000 rupees. Now we changed it after inputs from Anupul Prabhu. So she saw that, and her assumption, or maybe her husband or whoever, right? They thought that, so we are getting land for 5,000 rupees per square foot. This is what she thought, saying that, like, okay, Ulimavi area where you are setting up temple, that area per square foot cost is 5,000, because we're there in an area where the per square foot cost is 20,000. So her idea, the reason she called me was to find out if they can get some 30, 40 or some site for their business at that cost. So I was, firstly I was like, yeah, okay. I said, fine. No, yeah, Mataji, it's not available for 5,000. It was somebody gave us at some reduced price, so we got it at that price. But now it's 10,000 rupees. So then I said, I wanted to just check. So I said, okay, okay. So what is your budget, Mataji? What is your budget? She said our budget is 1 crore. And she said we have about 40, 50 lakhs that we can invest ourselves, and remaining 50 lakhs we'll take loan. No, I was just thinking, saying that, they are having money to invest in their business, but they don't have money to give 10,000 rupees, 50,000 rupees for the temple. We are so much in material conception of life that we just don't. I mean, for us, our family is everything. Our needs are everything. And everything else is secondary. Of course, Krishna is not saying that become irresponsible about your house, about your family, about your finances. We should be prudent, but we should not have this mentality of, hoarding for ourselves, not giving to Krishna. It's really, I mean, I was just feeling that, that people have so much, but they don't want to give. They want to own. So this is one disease of this generation, that we want to own. We think that we are protecting ourselves by owning things, by owning more and more. We don't have faith that Krishna is the protector, that Krishna is the maintainer. We think that we are the ones. Right? So like this, each and every aspect of our life, we are just steeped. We just forget that I am Atma, I am part and parcel of Krishna, I am servant of Krishna. We just forget it. And conveniently forget it, and then we can give 150 reasons why we have to forget it, as in why it's so important, that why that thing is so important. So that means that the chanting is not actually proper. Chanting is, we're not achieving whatever we have to achieve from that chanting, which is the Cheto Darpana Marjanam. So Prabhupada is saying that when the dirt is cleansed from the core, one can realize the form. But looks like we want to retain the dirt. We don't want to give up the dirt. We want to hold on to the dirt. That means that we will not be able to realize Krishna. We will not be able to go to Krishna. So we have to give up this material conception. We have to give up. And the process is powerful enough to wash it off, to cleanse it. Provided we are not holding on to things. This is the most important thing in devotion. We are not expected to become vairagis, like jnanis, right? Give up everything, give up everything. No, that's not what we are expected to do. We are expected not to be too attached, nor ours. Neither should be too attached to material things, nor should we become too ours, meaning like running away from situations. No, both of them are not conducive for devotion. Devotion means yukta vairagya. You have everything, use everything in Krishna's service. That is also being cleansed from material conception of life. By hearing the holy name of the Lord. So the important process is the hearing process. So one is chanting, the other is hearing. Now, if we are completely engrossed in this material conception of life, what will we hear? The ramblings of our mind, all the mental speculation that we are into. Isn't it? Everything about tomorrow is speculation. Everything about the past is lamentation, which is due to ignorance. Everything about the future is speculation, which is just due to lack of faith in Krishna. So we will either be in the past or in the future. We will never be in the present and we won't be hearing the holy name. So unless we hear the holy name, we will not come to the platform of understanding the personal form of Krishna. Because once the personal form is revealed, then after realizing personal form, one can realize his qualities, then his associates. Then in this way, a devotee advances further and further, further and further. So much advancement to be made further and further toward complete understanding of the Lord as he awakens in realization of the Lord's holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, pastimes, and everything pertaining to him. So this hearing process is so important. Therefore, the chronological process is Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. The same process of chronological understanding holds true in chanting and remembering. When the chanting of the holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia is heard from the mouth of a pure devotee, his hearing and chanting are very pleasing. So, the hearing and chanting of the holy name should be pleasing, not musically pleasing. The nama should be pleasing. Now, we do this dovetailing business. Somebody is playing a guitar, somebody is playing a djembe. It's just musical. Our focus doesn't even go towards the nama because there is so much of sound. So our focus goes to the music. But actually, the nama should be pleasing. Just by hearing the nama or chanting the nama, we should feel pleasure. Srila Sanatana Goswami has forbidden us to hear the chanting of an artificial devotee or non-devotee. Who is an artificial devotee? Bhakta Abhasa. He looks like a devotee. He is also wearing dhoti, kurta, tilak, kantimala. But then what he is saying, the holy name coming from his mouth, is not entering our hearts. The music coming might be entering. Hearing from the text of Srimad Bhagavatam is considered the most important process of hearing. So this is also most important. And this is also essential. So everything is important. Srimad Bhagavatam is full of transcendental chanting of the holy name. And therefore, the chanting and hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam are transcendentally full of melos, rasa. What is Prabhupada saying here is when we chant the holy name, then we experience rasa. So this is the topic of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The transcendental holy name of the Lord may be heard and chanted accordingly to the attraction of the devotee. One may chant the holy name of Lord Krishna, or one may chant the holy name of Lord Rama or Narasimha Dev. Amadi Murti Shukalani Amena Tishtan. The Lord has innumerable forms and names, and devotees may meditate upon a particular form and chant the holy name according to his attraction. The best course is to hear of the holy name, form, and so on from a pure devotee of the same standard as oneself. Same standard means what? Somebody is attracted to Krishna, then he associates with devotees who are attracted to Krishna. Like that. Yeah. In other words, one who is attached to Krishna should chant and hear from pure devotees who are also attached to Lord Krishna. The same principle applies for devotees attracted by Lord Rama, Lord Narasimha, and other forms of the Lord. Of course, the Nama is the same for Kali Yuga, but we might associate with different devotees. We might hear certain things. Our Shravanam might be slightly different. Because Krishna is the ultimate form of the Lord, it is best to hear about Lord Krishna's name, form, and pastimes from a realized devotee who is particularly attracted by the form of Lord Krishna. Actually, this is not only so much. Further, we should hear from a devotee who is particularly attracted by the same rasa as we are attracted to. Somebody who is attracted to Vatsalya rasa should here associate with a devotee who is also more advanced and who is also attracted by Vatsalya rasa and so on. In Srimad Bhagavatam, great devotees like Shukadev Goswami have specifically described Lord Krishna's holy name, form, and qualities. Unless one hears about the holy name, form, and qualities of the Lord, one cannot clearly understand the other processes of devotional service. So, without this Shravanam, the Kirtanam chanting doesn't happen because we don't even know about whom we are chanting. So, one cannot clearly understand the other process. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends that one chant the holy name of Krishna. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. If one is fortunate enough to hear from the mouth of realized devotees, he is very easily successful on the path of devotional service. Realized devotees means those who have submitted themselves at the lotus feet of the Lord and willing to follow, surrendered at his lotus feet, willing to follow all his instructions, even at the risk of, even at the expense of taking risks. And then they realize Krishna's statements in Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavatam. So that is their realization. So what do they share with others? Their realization, their experience. How, yes, Krishna is saying Yogakshemam Vahamyam. Yes, this is true. How Krishna is saying Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami. This is true. How Krishna is saying Matara Sparshastha Kunte Sitoshna Sukadukadagama Payana Nityastam Stitikshasva. Vishaya Vinivartante Niraharasya Dehena Rasavarjam Rasopyasya Param Drishtva Nivartate. So when we actually live as Krishna expects, then every verse in Bhagavad Gita will become a realization for a devotee. And then the devotee, when he speaks from his realization. So if one is fortunate enough to hear from the mouth of a realized devotee, he is very easily successful on the path of devotional service because he is hearing realization, not theory. See, our problem is sometimes we hear theory and we think the practical it's not practical. But when we hear from devotees who have actually made it practical, then we realize, oh, it's so easy. So then our path becomes easy and we succeed because we are following Mahajanayana Gatasya Pantaha. Therefore, hearing the holy name, form, and qualities of the Lord is essential. See, and we are actually, all of us, we are very fortunate because we are hearing from Srila Prabhupada, who is the topmost realized devotee. So actually, our path of devotion should be very easily, we should succeed. But unfortunately, because we don't take his words seriously or don't take his words to heart, we might feel that our bhakti life is full of obstacles or we're not making progress, etc., etc. But that is just because we are not hearing from Prabhupada properly. We are not following what Prabhupada is saying. Isn't it? If we simply follow what Prabhupada is saying, there is no way we cannot not achieve perfection. No way. Because he's giving out, completely giving the process that has to be followed. Bhagavatam says, Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo yasmin pratikshlokamabhaddhavatyapi namanyanantasya shonkitani yat shunvanti gayanti grinanti sadavaha. Verses describing the name, form, and qualities of Anantadev, the unlimited Supreme Lord, are able to vanquish all the sinful reactions of the entire world. So, if we simply hear these verses and understand their meaning, which are describing name, form, qualities, then it will just simply vanquish all the sinful reactions of the entire world. Sorry, इसको Therefore, even if such verses are improperly composed, devotees hear them, describe them, and accept them as bona fide and authorized. His connection, Sridhar Swami has remarked that a pure devotee takes advantage of another pure devotee by trying to hear from him about the holy name, form, qualities of the Lord. Now, this is very, very important. Pure devotees are not stuck, saying that, no, why should I hear from another pure devotee? No, because they're pure. They know, they feel actually that, I'm not a big devotee actually. This other devotee is a big devotee. So it's better I hear from him. So, like, I had written to my Guru Maharaj about something that I was wanting to inquire. And then my Guru Maharaj directed me to a book written by His Holiness Shivaram Swami Maharaj. And he said, you read from this, you will understand what you're asking. So taking advantage of another pure devotee. If there's no such opportunity, he alone chants and hears the Lord's holy name. Of course, we have this opportunity. We have the opportunity to hear from Srila Prabhupada, from his disciples, from exalted Vaishnavas. So Shravanam is the most essential process. So which is why a morning program, Prabhupada incorporated this Shravanam, right? Hearing Srimad Bhagavatam every day. So chanting and hearing. So this is our morning program, right? Which is basically Shravanam, heavily Shravanam driven and Kirtanam driven. Kirtanam, the hearing of the holy name has been described above. Now let us try to understand the chanting of the holy name, which is the second item in the consecutive order. It is recommended that such chanting be performed very loudly. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada Muni says that without shame, he began traveling all over the world chanting the holy name of the Lord. Similarly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has advised Trunada Pisuni Chena Taro Rapi Saishnu Namani Namana Dena Kirtaniya Sadhari. A devotee can very peacefully chant the holy name of the Lord by behaving more humbly than the grass. Very, very nice. Peacefully chant. Being tolerant like a tree, offering respects to everyone without expecting honor from anyone else. Actually, this is a very beautiful statement. I had not thought about it this way. Actually, if we are on this platform, behaving humbly, being tolerant, see, behaving humbly means that we don't consider ourselves important. So all these thoughts that come to our mind about how others are treating us is gone. Being tolerant, we are always otherwise thinking about problems. So if we are just tolerant, we don't bother about our problems. And we consider ourselves lowest, right? And offer respects to everyone without expecting honor. So all our issues with respect to thinking that I am the boss, no, but I'm not the boss, right? Then I am not able to tolerate my life situations, and I'm not able to tolerate people. Everything, all those thoughts just vanish, right? And then one can actually chant peacefully, which means that all these thoughts will not disturb his chanting. Such qualifications make it easier to chant the holy name of the Lord. It makes it easier. Otherwise, a problem will be that we are, chanting, and then like we are saying, all these thoughts come to our mind. Why are all these thoughts coming? Because we are not on this Trinada Pisuni Chena platform. What should we do to come to Trinada Pisuni Chena platform? More Shravanam, more Kirtanam. And right association. Don't let ourselves free, independent to do anything. Put ourselves under authorities, qualified authorities. Follow what they are saying. Then these things can happen. The process of transcendental chanting can be easily performed by anyone, even if one is physically unfit, classified lower than others, devoid of material qualifications, or not at all elevated in terms of pious activities. Chanting is beneficial. An aristocratic birth and advanced education, beautiful body features, wealth, and similar results of pious activities, Janmaishwarya Sutta Shri, are all unnecessary for advancement in spiritual life, for one can very easily advance simply by chanting of the holy name. It's understood from the authoritative source of Vedic literature that especially in this age, Kali Yuga, people are generally short-living, extremely bad in their habits, mandas, mandamatayo, mandabhagyaya, upatritaha, and inclined to accept methods of devotional service that are not more bona fide. They get cheated. Moreover, they're always upadritaha, always disturbed by material conditions, and they're mostly unfortunate. Manda, manda, mandabhagya, unfortunate, mandabhagya. Under the circumstances, the performance of other processes such as yajna, dana, tapakriya are not at all possible. Therefore, it is recommended Harer Nama, Harer. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one advances perfectly in spiritual life. This is the best process for success in life. In other ages, the chanting of the holy name is equally powerful, but especially in this age, Kali Yuga, it is most powerful. We should remember this. It's not that in other ages there was no chanting. It was equally powerful. But other processes also were powerful enough. So one could choose any of the process and you would get the same result. But in Kali Yuga, the other processes are useless. So the only effective process is the chanting of the holy name. Kirtanadeva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Vrajet. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one is liberated and returns home back to Godhead. Therefore, even if one is able to perform other process of devotional service, one must adopt the chanting of the holy name as the principal method of advancing in spiritual life. Yagnai Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Sumedhasaha. Those who are very sharp in their intelligence, Sumedhasaha, should adopt this process of chanting the holy names of the Lord. One should not, however, manufacture different types of chanting. One should adhere seriously to the chanting of the holy name as recommended in the scriptures. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Important. While chanting the holy name of the Lord, one should be careful to avoid 10 offenses. From Sanat Kumara, it is understood that even if a person is a severe offender in many ways, he is freed from offensive life if he takes shelter of the Lord's holy name. Indeed, even if a human being is no better than a two-legged animal, he will be liberated if he takes shelter of the holy name of the Lord. One should therefore be very careful not to commit offenses at the lotus feet of the Lord's holy name. Lotus feet of the Lord's holy name. Offenses are described as follows. To blaspheme the devotee, especially a devotee engaged in broadcasting the glories of the holy name. To consider the name of Lord Shiva or any other demigod to be equally as powerful as the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To disobey the instructions of the spiritual master, not even bother about the spiritual master. Forget about disobeying. Many devotees don't even bother about their spiritual master. They just initiation is taken and then done, over. Relationship is, that's it. No hearing, no following, nothing. To blaspheme the Vedic literatures and literatures compiled in pursuance of the Vedic literature. So, like, other shastras should not be condemned. They might be at a lower level, but they are for people also who are at a lower level, so it's required. To comment that the glories of the holy name are exaggerated. which is why we don't openly discuss the glories of the holy name. We simply say you have to chant. This is Yoga Dharma. To interpret the holy name in a deviant way, to give some other interpretation, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name, this is also strange. Like we are doing a sinful activity and we will think, see, holy name is so powerful that I will do this mistake and I'll chant the holy name and I'll get over the sins. Actually, the sins double. To compare the chanting of the holy name to pious activities. Of course, it is pious activity, but it's not just any other karma kanda process. You instruct the glories of the holy name to a person who has no understanding of the chanting of the holy name. So we should not again instruct the glories. We should just say, this is required, you please do. Not to awaken in transcendental attachment for chanting even after hearing all these scriptural injunctions. So this is also an offense. See, actually think about this. Why is this considered an offense? Not to awaken in transcendental attachment for chanting. Can somebody say? Why is this considered an offense? Okay, others we understand. It's like more functional, right? Okay, I mean, lack of knowledge, lack of conviction, etc. But what about this? Not to awaken transcendental attachment. Is it in our hands to awaken transcendental attachment? Yes, no, all right.
Yes, Rohit.
How is it in our hands?
So, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, right, that one who doesn't commit these offenses and amanina manadena, that person can do kirtanya sadahari. So, actually, it is kind of both, maybe. One is our efforts and then mercy of the Lord.
Hmm. Okay. So what is the other way by which Srila Prabhupada actually explains this?
I think attachment in service.
No, this is aham mama. So our attachment to chanting doesn't awaken if we are materially attached. That is why it is in our hands. It is in our hands because we have to give up that aham and mama, that attachment to our body and everything connected to the body. So if that we somehow protect ourselves from being attached materially, then attachment to the chanting of the holy name will awaken. So therefore, it becomes an offense because Nama is not different from Krishna, and we are not developing attraction to Krishna, but we are developing attachment to material things. So it's offensive. So we have to try this. You have to try not getting attached materially. And if you are not able to hear more, associate more, chant more, we should not doubt that the process is super powerful. This is one thing that we have to remember. It's super powerful process. There's no way to atone for any of these offenses. It is therefore recommended that an offender at the feet of the holy name continue to chant the holy name 24 hours a day. So continues to chant the holy name 24 hours a day. If we are offenders, then this is what we have to do. Constant chanting of the holy name will make one free of offenses, and then he will gradually be elevated to the transcendental platform on which he can chant the pure holy name and thus become a lover of the Supreme Person of Godhead. Constant chanting will make one free of offenses. Then he will gradually be elevated to transcendental platform on which he can chant the pure holy name. It is recommended that even if one commits offenses, one should continue chanting the holy name. Not that we stop. In other words, the chanting of the holy name makes one offenseless. In the book Nama Kaumudi, it is recommended that if one is an offender at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, he should submit to that Vaishnava and be excused. Similarly, if one is an offender in chanting the holy name, he should submit to the holy name and thus be freed from his offenses. In this connection, there is a following statement spoken by Daksha to Lord Shiva: I did not know the glories of your personality, and therefore I committed an offense at your lotus feet in the open assembly. You are so kind, however, that you did not accept my offense. Instead, when I was falling down because of accusing you, you saved me by your merciful glance. So Daksha is saying that he did not ignore him. He actually chastised him, and which was a mercy. Kindly excuse me and be satisfied with your own exalted qualities. One should be very humble and meek to offer one's desires and chant prayers composed in glorification of the holy name, such as Ai Mukta Kalair Upasya Manam Nivritta Tarshayar Upagiyamanad. One should chant such prayers to become free from offenses at the lotus feet of the holy name. So this is also nice. If we are committing offenses, one is 24-hour chanting, the other is we should also learn some prayers and offer prayers to please the holy name. The holy name is not different from Krishna. You should understand, right? Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. It is a Rasa Vigraha. It's a form. Holy name is a form of the Lord, right? So we should chant prayers to please the holy name. But the important thing is that we should try to avoid these offenses. We should try to keep them away. And if we are not able to, then we should chant continuously. That's the only way. Right? Because there's no other way. If you're offending the holy name, there's no other way. If you're offending a Vaishnava, you can go and ask forgiveness from a Vaishnava. But if you're offending the holy name, there's no other way but to seek the mercy of the holy name itself, which means that we have to just keep chanting, praying, begging for mercy. Then that is the reason why this chanting process is so important. Okay, so I'll stop. Shravanam, Kirtanam, we have done. Then we will talk about Smaranam tomorrow, Krishna willing. Okay, any questions, comments? Okay, no questions. Okay, fine. We'll close. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Mancha kalpatarupishta kripa sindhu bhyo cha patitana bhavane bhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo namo. Vaishnava ki jai, Samveta Gaura Bhakta ki jai. Hare Krishna.